Okay. So yesterday we created the admin guard. So now let's create authentication for admin user this time around. But for this admin user aspect, we will just create only login. We don't need registration. So we don't need to register. If I want to create another admin user to use the admin panel, I can create the admin user internally inside the admin panel as me being a super admin or like the main owner. So I can create any other sub admins if I want. So we don't need anything like registration page for admin panel since we are not customers. So but we will create only login functionality. So yesterday we already have the admins table in the database already. Let's wait for this stuff to load. Load. Oh, you been even come out, I don't even know. You funny. You tell me you just quick go the last message wey I send for the group chat. Where you dey see all those your own link dey click. Okay now. Uh, Yesterday we created a new extra table inside this our database called admins table. So we want to create login functionality for admin. We won't need registration. But before that, you know what? Probably let's just make this all stuff simple without. Okay, wait. Username. Okay, no vessel. Let's leave it the way it is. Um, so let's create a seeder first. Let's just create a seeder first. Yeah. So let's create. Let's just create a seeder. Admin seeder.php. Just copy this startup code, put it here. But we will need this ones. So we'll name this one admin seeder. Okay, so I would just like us to see the database first without yet creating a front end look. Without first getting a front, let's create the admin details because, like I said, we are only creating the login functionality for the admin. We are not creating registration. So let the registration be indirectly done by this seeder. So we can put data for the admin user. So we only just log in with that data. Straightforward. Okay. Import the admin. So admin, we have first name and name it Lex Luthor. We have admin last name. We have username, abi. Yeah, we have username. Lex Luthor. I don't know if you know Lex Luthor, if you are a fan of Superman. Email lex@mail.com, or let's just say admin@mail.com. Um, Password. For this password, we need an hashed password. Where is that site? By Crypt. We need to manually put that hash password for this seeder. So I don't seed normal English as a password. So I'll just name the password will be password123, capital letter P. So generate the hash for it, then I'll copy the hash, and that is what I'm going to put here. But in our mind, we know that the password is password123. So we then would save this so inside our admin table. Checking now. So this is, there are two ways of creating seeder. So this is just like one way of creating it. There are several ways of creating stuff like this using create, something like that. So this is just one way which it still would work. So what we will do, we need to seed this stuff. So PHP artisan database seed. No, away, nothing show. Shey you dey why me? Okay, I have not registered it. So every new seeder class you create, you need to register inside database seeder. Inside this place, admin seeder. So let's see it again. Okay, let's confirm that. Refresh. Tada! So we have the information here in our admins table. So we have one user, can see the password is directly the hashed password and everything is intact. So now we've automatically created a new admin user by using seeder without necessarily creating register, to then create kind of like a new admin details. So we did everything directly from seeder. So only what we just need to do is to create a login, just like we have login here for these are for customers. So we need to create similar kind of login for admin. And now when it comes to this admin of 18 that we've been talking about, yesterday we created an admin route. So all our routes for as far as admins is concerned will be stored in this place, just like we have the web routes that is storing what all those stuff the customers are seeing. So similar stuff will happen for the case of this admin. So for the routes, let's just admin.php, right? How should we do this thing now? I'm coming. Okay, let's do it this way. We're going to create. But first of all, let's have the normal default routes information. So usually we always need this stuff. Let's say this entire stuff is needed for a new route file. So you can have, so I'm going to create a group route. I'm going to create a group route, and the group route would have a prefix of admin. Or I will explain what, I think I've explained something like this before. A prefix of admin. Then we have something like as. So that I will explain it again, which I would name admin again. And function. So we're creating a group route which has a prefix of admin and which have an as. So this prefix is about the URL related. This as is about the naming of the routes. So the routes we would be needing in this case are, so let me copy some stuff that I know we will need here. So we will need all this. I will adjust some of them, all these routes also in this admin. For admin, so for admin, we are going to also have a login page for it. So a get page that will take us to the login page, as well as the actual post submission of the login page. So instead of login controller, I can name it, let's name it admin, or maybe admin login controller, just to differentiate it. We're still showing the underline because we're yet to create the controller and import it here. So that's why it's showing that red line. So we'll still get there later. So registration, we don't need registration in this case for admin stuff. We don't need registration. We only need the login. Forgot password, reset password. Yeah, we still need this. Forgot password, reset password. Password. So let's name it as admin just to differentiate it from the former one. So I'll prefix it as admin. You can also use this one will handle admin related password resetting. Okay, so we need to create a controller for this stuff. So we have to create this admin controller class stuff, and also this admin reset password blah blah blah. So go to app http controllers. What I will do, I would like to separate the logic. So I will say I'll just create a new directory called backend. So the backend is just more like the everything that's handling the admin related stuff. Or probably let's name it admin backend. So I know that everything that is inside this directory is admin related. While all these ones that are outside are the normal customers outside, codes that concern customers. So it's just about organization. They know how you want to organize your code. You can even put all these ones, this home controller, these tags and the thoughts. You can put them in a separate directory, which you can call customer directory or something like that. Everything related to customer controllers. But we can just leave it this way for this our case. Okay, so I want to create admin login controller B. I can use my, as usual, I can use my terminal, or I can just manually create the file and set it up myself. If I am to use my terminal, what I will write is php artisan make me controller. Now the controller is located inside controllers admin backend directory. So I will write admin backend slash then the actual name of the controller we want to create. So I want to create admin login controller. Enter. So you can see it has created that controller for us. So we can do similar for admin password reset controller. So let me just scroll up. Admin password reset controller created also. So since we've created it, we can import it now. So the red warning sign can disappear. Okay, so for this one is the get request, which means this is getting the front end page. We're going to create an index method inside of this admin login controller class and also a login method. We will also need logout self, but that one will be later on. Okay. So inside the admin login controller, we need two methods, the index method and the login method. So for this now, the name of this our route, if you want to access the login route, the name, I know you might be seeing here as login.index, but the name is actually starting from this as section, which is this admin. So the name of this route now, of this login route page that will take us to the login page, the name is admin.login.index. This one now, that the name here is login, the real name is admin.login. So this as is like automatic prefix to all the names of every route that is inside this group. So that's what this as is doing, and that's what, and the name here is admin. So everything here will start from admin when you are trying to access each of the routes. This one now that is forgot password, the real name is admin.forgot password. So for this prefix, what this prefix is saying, instead of it just being slash login, because remember we can't have the same route. We have this login route already in the web.php, and for this case, that's just slash login. Like if I click on login here, we check here, slash login. This is kind of like a straightforward login route. So for this case now, you might see that we have the same login here, but in this particular index, in that particular admin.php, it has a prefix of admin. So what it means is that this route you are seeing here, it's not starting from slash login, it's starting from slash admin slash login. So that's what this prefix is doing. So what I'm saying that the real route is like this, not just admin alone. So we just, because of this is a group route, instead of repeating this thing for all of them one by one manually, one by one, and like unnecessary stress. So we can place it in one place and all the route that is inside this group will automatically be using it. So that is what is happening there. So now you understand the difference of this prefix and the difference of this as. So that those are their job. So if I'm to access the login page of our admin panel, I'll be going to admin slash login routes, which of course this is what we are expected to see, because yeah, it takes us to the index method. So it took us to the index method, and index method does not exist. What's called domain, blah, blah, blah. So it takes us to this index method because we're trying to access this login page stuff. And inside the index method, we've not created the index method yet. Hence the error you are seeing. The method, which is this index method, does not exist. And indeed, it does not exist. We have not created it yet. So public function index. The function login. Those are the two methods we need as far as this controller class is concerned. We need the index method and we need the login method. So that is why I created those two methods. Now if I refresh this, another new error will show. Okay, it's not necessary, no error show, but there's still an error because we're not supposed to see a blank page. So the reason I'm seeing a blank page is because we are not telling Laravel what we're not showing Laravel the front end side of things. So we only have the method, yes, but where's the method going? Where's the method going to? It doesn't know where it's going to. So which means we are yet to create, kind of like this stuff. So the view, that's the blade.php. So it doesn't know where it is returning to yet. So we need to set this up as well. So we need to set up the login page now for our admin panel. And if we want to set up that as expected, it's within the resources, views. So all of these ones we're having here so far has been for the normal admin user, customer users rather. So we need to just create something similar and create a separate layout entirely set for backend related stuff. So let me just create a new directory which I will call backend, and this backend will have its own layout depending on how I want to design it. To have its own layout. But before we start talking about layouts in this place, let's just focus first on the login page first. Let's focus on the login page for the admin. So inside here we can create login.blade.php. Login.blade.php. Let's steal one of the login design here. I think we have one here. Since it's just login, we don't necessarily need all this our master design layout, blah blah blah. Or probably what we can do, no, let's do it this way. Let me rename this to admin login. Let's move it out of this backend directory. Let's put it out, since it's just this backend directory, let it handle everything that involves the admin panel design, pages and all of that. So anything that involves this admin panel, it means you must be logged in. for you to access anything inside this admin panel place. So, but anything that is outside, whereby anybody can see with their eyes, like any user, even though they are not logged in, let's just put it outside here like this. So what I would just do, let's use the same kind of design structure we have here for this login. That's where I'm heading towards. So I'll just copy everything here, paste it here. So we are going to be using the same normal layout that we have already created in this place. Layout master, the styling will still remain the normal styling that we have in the customer stuff. Instead of welcome back, we can just say something like admin access login. Login to continue managing your tasks. So instead of this, login to manage your platform. We will soon change all this route stuff, but for now, let's see. Let's just leave it this way. Let's see if we can see the page. That's the cocoa. And now, where did we create? We put we name it admin dash login, right? And it's inside the views directory. So we can just come here and write admin dash login dot index. No, admin dash login only, but blade.php. So we're not adding blade.php here. So admin dash login. Let's refresh this page and see if we're going to see the login stuff. Exactly. So admin access login. Can see the route here is admin slash login. So this is different from the normal login page we have. It's different from this one. So this one is just for normal tax management customer stuff, but this one is for admin user to log in. So enter email and enter password. We don't need register. For what password? Yeah, we will need it to later on to don't have an account. So let's move that part of register in this design, which is this section. We don't need it. Okay. So let's work on the actual login name. Since we already have a user in our table, which we did with our seeder. So which means right now we can actually log in, or can attempt to log in with our email and our password. So let's see what we need to adjust. The type email, okay. The name email, good. The password, the name password, good. Submit button, type submit, login, good. The form, now when we submit, this route is taken to the is taking us to the web.php route for the login in, but in this our own case, our route will take us to admin.login route, which is different from the other login. So admin.login, let's confirm that to be sure. Route admin.php. So this route here, this post request submission. And remember, like I said, for you, this route, even though it's showing login here, the real name is actually admin.login. Okay, admin.login. Why is it telling me that route not found? Are you seeing double? By the way, let's even confirm if we can see both the admin route and the normal web route. So PHP artisan route lists. now we can see the admin routes. So it's also showing in the routes list, which means it recognizes this admin.php that we created, and also it has the web.php route too as well. So the route is present, as we can see the name of the login routes. Okay, see the name of the login route here, admin login instead of admin dot. I actually want it to be admin dot, so that means I'm the one that forgot. That was why it said no route found, because I actually want it to be admin dot. So what I'll just do, I will put a dot after this place here. So we can say no more error, no more yellow underline. So funny how those things are actually triggering stuff, and you would know when something is wrong somewhere. And see, didn't see that route, it made me know that that route is not found. But for my own mind, I thought the route exists because as I can see it seems like, but I forgot that there's a dot. I forgot to put just a dot, but it was when I, then thought of, let me see all my routes first to be sure and see the name, because they always list the names of the route as well here. So let's rerun this and see the new name. PHP artisan routes list. Let me do that again. Let me just run it again. So I don't want this thing to break. I want it to be full like this. See this place, see this space. I don't like this compression. So it's because of this stuff why I open here. Sure. Okay, so let's check again. So this is the admin route. So now you can see now the names have a dot now. So admin.login.index, admin.login, admin.forgotpassword.send, admin.forgotpassword. So remember these parts are the methods, while this is the controller name, while this is the actual route. So like I said now, the route always starts from admin, even though it seems like we are just writing login here. The prefix is working, which is this admin. So that's why you can as well see the admin here in this place. Okay, so I guess everything is looking good. I think we can log in now, and oh no, it won't work. We've not set up the controller that will handle the login. Because once the front end, or in the front end, once we submit this stuff, it's taking us to the action in the post request. It's taking us to the submit route, the post route, which is this route, which means it's taking us to this particular route. So for it to be taking us to that route, what it also means is that it's trying to access this method inside of the admin login controller. Now, if we enter our admin login controller, what do we have in that login method? Nothing. So which means nothing is going to happen. So which means we have to work on the actual backend logging in of this thing. We can just test it and let's see the error we're going to get. Email is not present in our database. Please create an account. Let me even use the actual email that is present. Password. What just happened? So admin/log. So as you can see, it didn't do anything because it's trying to access the post request. It's trying to access the post request when we click that submit stuff, but nothing is happening because obviously nothing is expected to happen. So we've not worked on it yet, the submission part. So let's work on the login functionality. I think the idea is still similar to how we did the login, just a little tweak. Let's check the formal login we did. Authentication, login controller. Mm, mm, interesting. So we can use this idea. Let's copy this idea. We also need to create a login request. Sha. Wait, let's check this login request. What is inside here? Users table. We need to create another login request for admin only. Okay, let's just copy this and for now just paste it here first. Then we will also need login request class that we're going to create. But it won't be this formal one because that one is for customers. We need to create our own separate admin request. So probably let me create under, let me name this one backend directory. So all requests related to admin panel will store everything here just to just separate it from these old ones just to avoid confusion. So inside of here, I'm going to create another login request class that will handle this our request stuff. So login requests.php. So let me just copy this one that we used before and paste it here. Then adjust it. So the position in the namespace would be different, which automatically will make this login request different, even though they have the same name in somewhere else. In as much as the positioning is different, it's assumed to be a different request as far as Laravel is concerned. So I will update the namespace here. So this is HTTP requests. This is the request directory here. So inside the request, I will now have a backend. So I'm going to add here backend. Then we have the request. So login requests, yeah, this should always be true. Don't forget, always be true. So in this part, instead of users, because this part is about to users table. So it's going to be admins, because this time we're dealing with admin table. So this was the error we saw the other time. Email is not present in our database. Please create an account. Okay. So we just need to import this. So if I right click login requests, because we have two login requests, it's telling me which of these login requests do I want. So I want the one that is related to the backend covered with admin panel. That's the one I'm dealing with. So I'll click on this second one. So that is the right one that is imported for us. Okay, so what I just need to do now in terms of these odds, because first of all, surely we need to import the class of this odds. This is a default Laravel class, so just right click and import it. But we can't leave it this odds because by default, this odds class, which stands for like authentication, like logging in, by default, it assumes like you are currently in the web guard. So I talked about this web guard thing and admin guard thing yesterday. So by default, Laravel uses WebGuard for anybody that's trying to register and log in. So it was yesterday that we created our own custom guard, which we called admin guard. So for we to let Laravel know that this login we're trying to do is not for the WebGuard, it's for our own custom guard that we created. What we just need to add extra here is to add this helper function called guard. Called guard, then admin. So this, by default, it is web guard. So, but there's no point of we writing it this way because in as much as we know that by default it's web guard, we don't need to write it this way. So that's why if you check the formal login controller we did for the normal customer, you just use the odds and just go straight forward with the attempt method. But in this our new case now that we're dealing with admin, I have to use this guard function and then set it to admin, not the web. So it will know that it's so that it will check the login person through this admin's table, not this user's table, because this user's table make use of the web guard. But for admin guard, we are making use of this admin's table. So admin guard. So once it sees this, that is when it will, it will go and investigate in that config that we did yesterday. To investigate inside the config auth.php. By default, the guard here is web, but to check if there are other guards. So see guards, we have the web guards, and we have the one created yesterday, which is the admin guard. So to say okay, indeed there's a new guard called admin. Then to check the providers, which here we name the provider admin. So if we go to the providers, we have the admins. To now locate where the model is located for this our admin. Then to from there access the admin table. That can get the model to get the migration and the admin table and submit the old stuff appropriately. Also the password too. Okay, so let's try this again. But now, even if we log in, we have nowhere for it to take us to, because now we're telling it to redirect us to, because after we log in, we have to tell it to go somewhere. And right now we have nowhere. So let's set up somewhere to take it to once it logs us in. Let me close all of these tabs. So let it take us to somewhere once it logs us in. So what's going to happen is I'm going to create another new group route. For this group route to be routes that you must be logged in for you to be able to see the routes. So let me just copy this startup group routes right up. Then I'll close it with this one. So now we have two group routes. So this one, everybody can access the pages that is inside this route. It doesn't concern, because surely we need to access the login page first to be able to log in the first place. But for this next route now that I'm creating, you can't access it unless you are logged in. So I'm going to add an extra information here, which is adding that middleware stuff. Remember, we also have this middleware logic in this our web.php. This one is for middleware guests. So when we say middleware guests, guest user, like everybody can just access the page. You don't need to be logged in for customers to see it. Customer can see it even though they have created accounts. But this other route that we set middleware to be authenticated, you must be logged in for you to see our tax to do pages. So the same logic idea is also what we're doing here, but this time around, this is like we're doing it in a different fashion. We're adding prefix and all of that, still with group routes, but in the middleware write up, we'll write it in this our array. So I'll write middle, which I'm supposed to create column like this. So middleware admin. So yeah, middleware admin. So you must be logged in for you to be able to access this route. And this middleware admin is coming from that registration that we did. Because if you remember back then, when we were trying to create the admin guard yesterday, we went to where we go again. No, I think is it this? No, is it this? No, no. HTTP middleware. We created a middleware admin.php middleware. Yeah, this. Then when we created this middleware, we registered the middleware in our kernel.php, which is this. So this admin, you can see the name admin, is what we are calling in this middleware place where we wrote here admin. So it's that middleware that will register in that kernel.php we are calling in this place. Interesting, right? Everything is just interconnected to themselves. maybe say na fashion we dey do that yesterday. So we will then need we need the dashboard page, like a page that for it to take us to once we have logged in. So let me just quickly copy this route. So for starters, let's just start first with two routes. So we'll need the dashboard. We will need it to take us to the dashboard route once it logs us in. Dashboard, and also we'll need a logout button, like a logout functionality as well. Remember, you have to be logged in before you can think about logging out. So for you to be able to access logouts, you would need to first be logged in. Well, instead of naming this thing admin login, let's name it admin auth. Let's give it a generic name. Same with this one. Let's just, the reason I'm doing it, I want to add another extra method to this class instead of creating another new controller for the logouts. It's like unnecessarily waste of files creation. Just put all the logic there. So I renamed this Abi. So this is the one I renamed. So I'm going to rename it here. Auth controller, and I'm going to rename the name of the file also. So instead of login auth controller. So I plan to add the logout method here. That's why. So I don't want to just name it admin login and then I have logout stuff there. So let's just name it admin auth. So that's why I decided to rename it. So we'll come back to the logout, to this method, when we are ready. I created array instead of curly brackets. So yeah, okay, the importation, so we need to change the name here. Yeah, so everything is back on track. So now, after successful logging in as admin, let it take us to the dashboard page. Dashboard. It's, can mute yourself back. So once we log in, let it take us to the dashboard page. Dashboard, okay, yeah. I wrote dashboard.index. It's showing me this yellow stuff saying it doesn't exist, like the route dashboard index is not in existence. Then I go back to my admin panel and I see the dashboard.index here, but then I remembered there's this as. So the name is actually admin.dashboard, not just only dashboard index. So admin.dashboard index. Good. So login successfully. Okay. So now even this dashboard we're talking about here now. In this dashboard, for this dashboard, we need to create a separate controller for it. Dashboard. We need to create a separate controller for it. It has nothing to do with authentication. So, but we'll leave the authentication for logout sharp. So for this dashboard, we need to create controller for it. So put it also inside this backend directory. Remember, like I said, everything related to admin panel. Going to put them inside this admin backend stuff. So I can just use my command manually. So dashboard controller. So this will create the. But me, I dey hear you. I dey hear you now. Uh, and then or maybe because I know they shout. So thank God, maybe it's your network too. Okay, so I will just import this dashboard class since we've created the dashboard. Import this. So the dashboard controller index method. We need to create the view again for the dashboard, and this one is for admin related, right? So we need to create the views. This time around, I'll put it inside this backend directory that we created. That's dashboard dot blade dot php. This time I just make it very simple. Like later on we'll upgrade it better. So I just say welcome H1. Welcome to your admin panel dashboard. Yeah. So let's try all these things we've been doing. So refresh. I'll log in with my admin details. Admin at mail.com. Password capital letter P. Password 123. Login. The way. Are you sure the file exists? Okay, it actually, well, it took me to the appropriate login route, sha, but it didn't, the route I put here, it's not seeing it, which I know why. I put dashboard like this straight up, and you writing the name of it, it assumed that the dashboard is located here as the blade.php, but whereas we created it inside this backend stuff. So that is why it's not seeing it. So what I need to do, I need to come here. Exactly. So backend dot. That's the naming convention. So backend dot dashboard. So let's refresh this and see. So it is seeing it, so which means it is working. Let me click on this my stuff. So I think we can easily log out from here. Mm, mm, mm. There's no logout button here. I don't want us to create the logout stuff yet. That is why. Mm, okay, anyhow, let's I guess let's just stop. Let's stop here. So probably the next class will start first of all designing the dashboard to look like an actual dashboard. So for me to get, since I can't log out from here without clicking log out, so I will have to just with like close the old stuff or refresh back my database. Everything will now go back to normal back. You don't look tough now, Abby. Okay, the file is done the long, the whole yeah, I get. Mm. You say that initial gra when we still dey do the basics and na so e dey be sha, but it's with time. Everything is still new. That's why it is looking like this. When you start to use your hand dey do them, you go dey understand the pattern. Like the pattern dey always dey the same thing. And one of all these things that once you've done a proper project once with this Laravel, even if you want to do another similar project, you can just easily go back to that your proper project and just understand what you did and be copying the code and be putting it and be changing it. You know that kind of stuff to make it faster. So na just to do the one time main project and get use the idea to do many other projects. What we have been doing is exactly where that's where we are heading. You know, even right now, we never even really use proper web page set. Like all this to do where they do is just normal simple UI. We have not done something like real websites, uh, something like that. So for now, that's why I'm just trying to make you understand this all this touching, like all these basics first, all these looks. So you can know how to understand the structure of what all these files and what they do. So when we start to do the main one, go understand say the pattern are still the same thing. Just be say the codes will look longer because of say the front end and all of that go add to the code, make everything look as if na heavy thing, whereas the pattern, the logic will still be the same thing. So na to no make una fear sha, na why I just say I start with dis small version of dis project first. Na so we see am. Alright now, bye den.